The Galactic Council chamber hummed with the usual contempt whenever Earth's delegation entered. Elsa walked beside Ambassador Farrat, her boots clicking against the crystalline floor as 1,000 eyes from 100 species watched them with barely concealed disdain. "The prey species arrives," hissed Ambassador Thakar of the Vrelian Empire, his triple-jawed mouth curling into what passed for a sneer among his kind. "Tell me, humans, have you finally decided to accept our generous offer of protectorate status?" Elsa felt Farrat's hand touch her elbow gently, a silent reminder to stay calm. They had endured 3 years of this, 3 years of being the galaxy's favorite joke. Humanity had been welcomed into the galactic community with curiosity at first, but that curiosity had quickly turned to mockery. Humans were weak by galactic standards. They couldn't breathe methane like the Kroloth. They couldn't survive in vacuum like the Shrith. Their bones broke easily, their skin tore, and they died from the simplest toxins that other species shrugged off. The galaxy had concluded that Earth had simply gotten lucky, evolving on a paradise world that required no real strength to survive. "We respectfully decline," Farrat said, his voice steady despite the rumbling laughter that echoed through the chamber, "as we have declined every session for the past 3 years. Your pride will doom your species." The car clicked. The krill swarm advances through the outer rim. 73 worlds have gone silent. Even the mighty Vrelians struggle against them. What hope do you fragile things have? Elsa watched as the holographic display showed the krill advance, a spreading red stain across the star map. World after world, going dark. The krill were unstoppable, a hive mind species that consumed everything in their path. They adapted to every weapon, every tactic. The galaxy was losing. "We will defend our own," Elsa said quietly. The chamber erupted in laughter. That night, in their quarters aboard the orbital station, Farrat stared at the communications terminal. His jaw was tight, his eyes dark with something Elsa had rarely seen in him: rage. "They don't know," he said softly. "They have no idea what we are, what we've always been." Elsa moved beside him, looking at the classified files from Earth. Files the Council would never see. Files humanity had kept hidden for a very good reason. "Maybe it's time they learned," she said. "You know what will happen if we show them the truth. The krill are 3 jumps from Earth now, Farrat. The Council won't help us. They think we'll fall in days." She placed her hand on his shoulder. "We stay silent to protect them. But if we're all going to die anyway..." Farrat nodded slowly. "Then let's make sure they understand why we stayed quiet." The krill arrived at Earth system with the confidence of a species that had never known defeat. Their bioships numbered in the thousands, blotting out the stars. The Galactic Council watched through their long-range sensors, waiting to witness humanity's extinction. "Such a waste," Thakar muttered. "They could have at least provided interesting data on krill feeding patterns." But Earth did not go silent. The human fleet that emerged from behind Luna was like nothing the galaxy had ever seen, not because of its size, though there were hundreds of ships, not because of advanced technology, though their weapons were formidable. It was because of what those ships represented. "By the ancestors," whispered the Sireth observer, Are those weapons of mass extinction?" The Council watched in horror as humanity unveiled what they had hidden. Nuclear weapons that could crack continents, biological agents that could sterilize worlds, chemical compounds that could poison entire atmospheres, kinetic bombardment systems, antimatter warheads. And then, the translation came through from the human flagship, broadcast on all frequencies. It was Elsa's voice. "For 3 years you've asked why we're so weak, why we break so easily, why we stay so quiet in council chambers." There was no anger in her voice, only a terrible, ancient weariness. "You want to know the truth? We're not weak. We're dangerous. So dangerous that we nearly destroyed ourselves a dozen times before we even reached the stars." On the display, human ships engaged the krill with a ferocity that stunned the watching galaxy. They didn't try to adapt or negotiate. They simply killed with efficiency born from thousands of years of killing each other. Every species in the galaxy evolved to survive their environment. Farat's voice joined the transmission. We evolved to survive each other. We are apex predators who became sapient. We learned to split atoms before we learned to live in peace. We weaponized diseases, poisoned our own air, and still survived. The krill swarm began to break. For the first time in their expansion, they faced a species that understood warfare at a level they couldn't comprehend. Humanity didn't fight to survive. They fought because 10,000 years of evolution had made them terrifyingly good at it. We stay silent, Elsa continued, because we're afraid. Not of you, of ourselves. We've kept our arsenals, our weapons, our warlike nature hidden because we know what we're capable of. We've seen what happens when our species stops holding back. 3 hours later, the krill swarm was destroyed. Not scattered, not repelled, destroyed. The council chamber was dead silent when Elsa and Farat returned. Now you understand, Farat said quietly. We're not weak, we're restrained, and we stay silent because the galaxy is safer when we do. The car's voice was barely a whisper. What? What are you? Elsa met his eyes, and for the first time, he saw what humanity had been hiding. Not weakness, not fear, but the carefully controlled violence of a species that had climbed to the stars over mountains of their own dead. We're human, she said simply, and now you know why we stay quiet. The council never mocked humanity again, and humanity, having revealed its true nature, returned to its careful silence, watching over a galaxy that finally understood. The most dangerous species wasn't the one that looked strong. It was the one that chose to appear weak.